Chike's scream tore through the evening air as the river swallowed him whole. His mother's clay pot rolled to the shore, spinning in the mud before it shattered. The villagers rushed toward the water, but there was no sign of him, only the rippling waves of the Ogudu stream glowing faintly under the moonlight. They said the river was angry, they said a spirit had awakened, but the truth was far darker. For weeks, no one dared to fetch water alone. The laughter that once filled the riverside was gone, replaced by whispers and fear. The women now carried calabashes to distant wells, praying quietly to avoid the fate of those taken. One night a young girl named Ifuko crept to the river, desperate for water. "Just one pot," she whispered. "Please, ancestors, protect me." The water shimmered like glass. She leaned closer and saw her reflection smile back, though she hadn't. Before she could scream, a pale hand shot out, dragging her beneath. The river stilled. By morning, the entire village gathered at the palace. The king, old and weary, struck his staff on the floor. "Enough," he thundered. "If this continues, our children will vanish one by one. We must find who offends the river." But the priest only shook his head. "It is no mortal offense, my king. The goddess of the river is awake again. Her anger is older than any of us." In the crowd stood a young hunter named Obaide, broad-shouldered, fearless, and silent. His parents had been among the first taken years ago when the river first changed. He clenched his fists. "If it is a goddess," he said, stepping forward, "then let me face her." The crowd gasped. The king looked at him long and hard. "Do you know what you are saying, Obaide?" "I do, my king. If we wait any longer, there will be no village left to protect." The priest turned toward him. "You cannot fight a spirit with a spear. You must fight her in her world." Obaide bowed. "Then show me the way." That night the village gathered by the river. The moon hung red in the sky as the priest drew strange markings on Obaide's chest with white chalk. "Beyond this water lies the spirit world," he whispered. "Once you cross, your courage alone will bring you back." Obaide drank from the calabash the priest offered. His vision blurred. The world tilted. The last thing he heard was the chant of the villagers fading behind him as he fell into the water. He opened his eyes to silence. The riverbed glowed like fireflies beneath his feet. Strange figures moved in the shadows, watching but saying nothing. Ahead, a silver path wound deep into the water. Obaide took a breath and walked forward. Then he saw her. The river mermaid, tall, radiant, and terrible. Her eyes burned gold, her hair floating like dark smoke. "Mortal," she said, her voice echoing through the current. "Why have you come where you do not belong?" Obaide steadied himself. "You have taken too many of my people. I've come to end this." She laughed, soft but cruel. "End this? You speak as though you know my pain. They poisoned my river, slaughtered the fish, built fires where they once prayed. I do not forgive." Obaide's heart pounded, but he met her gaze. "I will not beg for mercy, but I will not watch my people die for sins they did not commit." Her eyes flashed. "Then you will join them." Water swirled around him, rising like walls. He was flung backward, gasping for breath. The mermaid's voice thundered, "No mortal has ever left my world alive." Obaide reached for his waist and drew out his charm, a small ivory pendant his mother gave him before she died. He raised it high. "Then today, one will." The river exploded in light. The light tore through the water like lightning. Spirits scattered, hissing as they vanished into the depths. Obaide fell to his knees, trembling but unbroken. The mermaid shielded her eyes, her voice rising in fury. "What is that charm you carry?" Obaide gasped, holding the pendant close. "It was blessed by my mother before the river took her. Her spirit lives within it. You may command the waters, but not a mother's love." For the first time, the mermaid's anger faltered. The golden light from the charm reflected in her eyes, and for a heartbeat she looked almost human. "Your mother's spirit, I remember her. She came to the river long ago, begging for her child's safety." Her voice softened. "I spared you once. Perhaps fate brings you here again for a reason." Obaide rose slowly. "Then end this hatred. Let the river flow in peace again. Let my people honor you, not fear you." The mermaid turned away, her form shimmering like smoke. "You speak of peace, but your kind will forget. They always forget. Then I will remind them, Obaide said, stepping forward. I will build a shrine by this river. Every moon we will bring offerings, and your name will be sung again. The mermaid's eyes met his. Would you bind yourself to my river for eternity, mortal? I will bind myself to peace, he replied. Silence stretched. Then, with a sigh like the wind before dawn, she raised her hand. The water around them turned calm, glowing with soft blue light. Take this, she said, handing him a shell amulet that pulsed like a heartbeat. It carries my blessing and my warning. Keep your word, Obaide of Ogudu, or I shall return with the wrath of the deep. Before he could speak again, the current lifted him, and everything went dark. When his eyes opened, he was lying on the riverbank. The villagers surrounded him, gasping in disbelief. The king pushed through the crowd. He lives, someone shouted. The hunter lives. Obaide sat up weakly, the glowing shell still in his hand. The river is at peace, he said, but we must never forget her. A sudden rumble echoed through the ground. The river shimmered once, then ran clear as glass. The stench of death was gone, replaced by the scent of rain. The people fell to their knees, weeping and rejoicing all at once. Days later, the king summoned Obaide before the palace. The drums beat slow and proud. You have done what warriors, priests, and chiefs could not, the king declared. You have saved Ogudu. He removed his royal crown and placed it before Obaide. For your courage and your truth, I offer you the hand of my daughter, Princess Eniola. The crowd erupted in cheers. The princess, graceful and kind, smiled as Obaide bowed before her. The river chose wisely, she whispered. The wedding took place by the riverside, under the same moon that once glowed red with blood. Now it shone pure silver. Drums echoed, dancers spun, and laughter returned to Ogudu. For the first time in years, children played by the river without fear. As night deepened, Obaide stood by the water's edge, staring into its calm reflection. For a moment he thought he saw her, the mermaid, watching from beneath the surface. She smiled faintly before fading into the current. He whispered, "Rest, river mother, we will not forget." And the river rippled in answer. The narrator's voice lowered as the screen darkened. In every stream where the water sings, a spirit listens. Respect it, and it will bless you. Defy it, and you may wake what should remain asleep. Story touched your heart. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to StoryVibe TV for more African legends brought to life. Let's keep our stories flowing like the rivers that raised us.